Okay. I'll send him out that way. What is that? What happened with I wasn't going up. Hey, how are you? Good to see you, man. Doing all right? Not a problem. We'll get it up there for you. Yeah.
Are we going to have this turned on?
Hey, how are you?
You got power? Don't say that's right.
You still have power?
You don't have.
Yeah. It's our neighborhood about that too, but we're on Panola. They got this,
All the power. They closed, Green was down like Michael and Dr. They started falling, right while the traffic was going.
half our neighborhood lit up, another half is not. Unfortunately, very fortunate.
I say one thing, didn't have to worry about no water for the car. I feel the heat.
We need to just send it to my email. Yeah. Come on.
Call y'all. I had coffee today. You keep it quiet, that's what I want to get coffee now. I want you to do nothing to upset.
Okay.
No, we still out there. Bad.
Steve,
This is the one that's not about the same subject, all these are.
Yes.
so I'm gonna have to follow this one too.
And then did you send that to me?
I'll go ahead and real quick and I'll be right back. How you doing? That's all right. I'm right outside.
This is magnifying.
So we cut it. So we cut it.
City Council.
Does that work?
These are the Caddo Commission special meeting agenda for today, June 20, 2023, at 3:30 is now called to order. Mr. Clerk.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson is here. Commissioner Jackson. Okay, he is away from the desk, but I did see him here. Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Burrell.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Cothran.
Here.
Commissioner Atkins. Here. Commissioner Chavez. And Commissioner Lazarus.
Here.
All right, I have 10 of 12 members present, and that does constitute a quorum.
First, let me say I appreciate all of y'all being here, given the circumstances that we've had since Friday of last week, in trying to get our power restored and getting our homes back in order. It's been a very, very difficult time, but I think we've done well in short order. We just left an emergency meeting with some good news, and hopefully we can share that also. Right now, our invocation will be given by Commissioner John Atkins, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Commissioner Todd Hopkins. Would you stand, please?
Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for our many blessings. Please give us wisdom and your guidance as we work through our agenda today. Please help us to make good, wise decisions. Please give us grace and mercy and faith, and bless us in all that we do. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Would you join me within the pledge? Veterans and military members, please use a brow salute if you so desire. Also remember our MIAs and POWs. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins and Commissioner Todd Hopkins. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us to agenda additions, and if you don't see it in front of you, if you would refresh your computer screen, you will see there are two potential agenda additions today. Both of those are related to the recent natural disaster and the response. Would you like me to go ahead and read those, or?
Circle arrow. Right about there. Third thing.
All right, yeah. Okay. Trying to get my additions up. Okay. All right, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, so 4.1 is a potential agenda addition, adopting emergency ordinance 6340 of 2023. That's an emergency ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Reserve Trust Fund to provide public assistance to Caddo citizens as a result of the June 16th storm and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The other item is a potential agenda addition, adopting an emergency ordinance 6341 of 2023. That's an emergency ordinance that is amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for Public Works Fund to provide debris removal after the June 16th storm and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay. Floor is open for a public hearing on the addition on these additions. if there is anyone to come forward.
I think we maybe first need a motion to expand the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Johnson?
Just wanted to add these to the agenda. Talking to our Public Works Director, it's gonna take about $1.5 million to clear up the debris in the right-of-ways. And they're also going to get a grant that would pay $1 million of that back. So the parish would be out of roughly $500,000. The other one is on public assistance. When we have disasters, we pretty much open up our National Disaster Fund, and with all the people that's been impacted, with roof damage, meters being torn from the houses, and also having trees in the yard, just to give them some assistance to try to get past this emergency declaration.
Does this include food spoilage? And is that included in that? Or?
No, I think there's another one in here about that somewhere.
All right. Now the floor is open for a public hearing on this. Anyone that want to come forward to speak for or against, do at this time.
It looks like you do have somebody approaching for the public hearing, and just for the record, this gentleman has also submitted a request to speak during public comments today, I believe, about the same.
Will they be one and the same, or this is
Well,
different?
a part of it is what Commissioner Johnson is proposing, and I'm in agreement with that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
just go ahead on, but state your name for the record.
Okay, well, the name is Kenny Gordon. I live at 630 Hendricks Place, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. And part of it, my talk is, I agree with Commissioner Johnson. I think that you all should vote for that. There's a lot of people that's hurting, that needs help. I have perused a few neighborhoods, and there are houses where there's trees inside the house, and they don't have the assistance, so they need that. So that's part of it. I don't know if I can talk about the other part that I...
Oh, well, you'll come back up for public hearing.
Okay, all right, well, I'm in agreement with what he's talking about.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak for or against adding these items? If not, the public hearing is closed. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us then, I guess we would need a vote, since we've heard from the public hearing. Now
Okay, we have a vote on the floor, motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Gage Watts. Let's vote.
And remember, this does need to be a unanimous addition. Okay, and that is unanimous addition. That is a unanimous addition. It is passed with 10 in support, 0 in opposition, 2 are absent. So we will add those items at the end of your new business section, and they will become, let's see, items 6, 20, 4, and 5. And so that brings us now to citizens' comments, where citizens are asked to sign up, and the comment cards are in the lobby, and you can return them in the box here to my left. We have received a number of requests for citizens' comments already. Just as an explanation, sometimes in our work session we do have a disclaimer that asks people not to speak regarding zoning issues because we have a separate time for that in our traditional meeting. This meeting we do not have that on this, so it's a general public comments. And so we, you may be hearing some items about zoning matters in this section. I just wanted to explain that in case you were wondering.
Well, and I understand that we normally hold it toward the end of the meeting, but since this is a special session, I think we're going to go ahead on and get that out of the way.
Those are additional public comments.
On the
So I
same
think they're
line.
probably on the same. Yes, these are all
They're on the same
line.
line.
Yeah, so you may want to just let them know when you do that.
Or do you want me to say that right now?
I think you need to.
Okay. Also, for the record, we do have a limit on the time that is spent on certain items. So each comment is limited to 3 minutes for public comments, though we also have a 15-minute per side limit for each agenda item. So you'll want to make sure that you're not kind of repeating something that's already been said, but you will have 3 minutes each up till 15 minutes.
In other words, on the same subject matter, you have a total of 15 minutes that you can split among the ones who are speaking on that subject,
On each side of that subject.
on each side of that subject. Sorry?
Well, public hearing would be each side. For
Yeah.
the public comments, it would be just that subject altogether, whether they're for or against it.
Okay, but this is a zoning matter. And
But it's not
Public
a citizens' comments is not a public hearing. If it were a public hearing, you could speak for or against, but citizens' comments can only be just that specific topic. Whether they're for it or against it doesn't matter in citizens' comments.
okay. Jeff, come here a second. Let me make sure that we got this in proper
I
order
think
then.
what you would do is, these are all related to the same issue,
These are on the public
except for the
comments.
first one. So maybe call this first one, and then after that, we can set a timer, and people can see the cumulative timer as they're coming up with their individual comments. That way they can,
But the question still remains based upon what they're saying is that there might be 15 total public comments
It's still 15 minutes.
it's 15 minutes, yes, that's correct.
on each side. All right, we got that straight. Wanted to make sure that we have things in proper order. The first person up for public comment would be Mr. Kenny Gordon again. State your name again for the records, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Kenny Gordon. I live at 630 Hendricks Place, Freeport, Louisiana, 71106. I gave my first speech, part of my comment. Second thing is, and I don't know if this is your forte, if you can do anything about it, but I'm reaching out to you anyway. The parks. A.P. Palmer is one of the parks in my neighborhood, and it's not very well. There's a lot of things that needs to be done. I've reached out to some people about fixing the park, doing things so that the neighbors or the neighborhood can partake in the park in a nice and enjoyable manner. But that's not the case because we have some things that's wrong. So I'm talking to you to see if you can help put a spark under spark and get these problems rectified. I've identified two parks. One is A.P. Palmer, and the other one is Hattie Perry. The grass is overgrown in Hattie Perry. It was overgrown in A.P. Palmer. I talked to them about that, and they have cut it somewhat, halfway cut it. They cut one part, left another part. They didn't weed eat around various benches, various barrels and trash cans and things of that nature. The sprinklers for the little kids, they're not working in A.P. Palmer. Now, they are working at Hattie Perry, but halfway. Hattie Perry has a lot of grass grown up, and I believe that the baseball area that they have should be marked off. Neither one of them are marked off, and they're both overgrown. So if you can help out with that, it would be greatly appreciated. I know the neighborhood would love it, but I've talked to a few individuals in the neighborhood, and they said, yeah, if you can do something, that would be great, because we would come out. No one wants to come out to a park and there's grass overgrown and no basketball rims on the basketball goals and things of that nature. So again, if you can help me out with that, or you can help the neighbors out with that, we'll be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
We don't normally respond to public comments, but just as a matter of information, those city parks, those parks are city parks that are in the city, and I would suggest that you talk with your city councilman as well as the mayor, although they are also in a parish district, and maybe your parish commissioner may have some input, but they have no authority over those parks that's in the city. That's just food for thought. But we appreciate the comments. Okay, that takes us now to our zoning issue. Is that correct? Okay. All right, zoning issue, case 22-37-P. Mr. Jerome Nicholas is our first citizen. And let me remind you again, is that a 15-minute total? Okay. Per side.
Total. 5 people can speak for 3 minutes.
All right. Just keep that in mind.
Yes, my name is Jerome Nicholas. Address is 9922 Wallace Lake Road. And speaking in opposition to that zoning, as are most of these people sitting near me. We have been to every meeting with the zoning board and tried to express our opposition to what we feel like is just a blatant spot zoning. I now have the MPC staff report, and I think that backs me up. The zoning request was originally for C4 zoning. They backed that down to C1 zoning. The staff report says C1 is not adequate for what they're trying to do. We have several points that I would like to make, but I thought I would show you this map that we have here. This area right here is the location of zoning, the zoning request. This is Burt Coons, I-49 here, and this is Wallace Lake Road, Southern Loop, and Mayo Road, and Flournoy Lucas Road. One of the comments was that there's already commercial zoning on Wallace Lake Road. Well, technically that's true. If you look at this area right here, that's the intersection of Burt Coons and Wallace Lake Road. That's 2 miles from the site. Off the map here, down by Wallace Lake, which is at least another 2 miles, is another commercial enterprise. But again, in excess of 2 miles from this site. So that argument that there's already commercial zoning in this area is totally bogus, because those are 2 miles away from the area. Now, if you look at this plan, I don't know whether you can see it very well, but all of these areas outlined in green are existing residential areas. This is the Grove right here, and all of these are single-family residences all the way up here. To Mayo Road, there's a church here, and even along Overton Brooks, that's residential. And the reason I bring that up is because there are people on Overton Brooks who kind of surprised us and came in opposition also to this zoning request. So the yellow areas are undeveloped areas. And in the MPC staff report, they say these undeveloped areas are trending residential. I've lived out there for about 25 years, and over the past 30 years or so, that's what's happened to this area. It has changed from rural to residential. There's no denying that. So if you look at this area right here, this site that's being requested to be rezoned is right in the middle, and that's spot zoning. You have a residential area, and you're trying to bring in something that the staff report says it is an intrusion into that area. Now, they tried to come up and soften it and call it a residential, RA PUD, but it's still the same incompatible use. You're introducing a use that really should be classified as a C4 area into a residential area. And that's strictly spot zoning. The staff asked the questions, does that serve the parish any benefit? And their answer was no, it's not evident that this serves any benefit to the parish to rezone this. The Great Expectations Master Plan says, the staff says that given the land use trends in this vicinity, this property is still feasible to develop residentially. So why are you bringing this, why are you allowing this intrusion into a residential neighborhood?
Let me remind you that you've gone 5 minutes, and you have a number of people still left to talk.
All right.
It's up to you.
I've talked to them, and they're giving me their minutes.
Okay, well, we're good.
I'm going to try to wrap this
See my friend
up.
out there.
The other comment was that there are metal buildings in the area already. Yes, there are metal buildings that people have used as garages or shops, and they're generally 20 by 20, something on that scale, 400 square feet. This development that they're proposing, the building and the covered areas are 12,000 square feet. So that's 30 times the size of what they're comparing and saying that you already have metal buildings there. So it's a totally different scale, 30 times what's existing out there. And that does not include all the parking and drives that are necessary for this development. So what we're saying is that the area is a neighborhood, and it's the undeveloped areas are trending residential. And so you're introducing what the staff calls an incompatible use in the area that technically should be classified as C4. And that is a detriment to the neighborhood. Think about it in terms of your neighborhood. Would you want some C4 in there? C1 is what the classification that they moved to try to soften this up. But C1 is things like doctor's offices and personal care establishments. It's not a big contractor's storage area and office. So we feel like this RA PUD is just simply a workaround to get what actually is a C4 use in a residential neighborhood. So that's just spot zoning. Even with the mitigation efforts of the PUD designation, this is still just an incompatible use that you're introducing into the neighborhood, and that's not good zoning, it's not good planning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nicholas. You still have about 7.5 minutes. Someone else wanted to come?
Mr. President, let's make sure the other side is able to speak also within this 15 minutes. Aren't we doing?
Oh, so it's not each side.
It's just one 15-minute block.
Right.
Okay. Well, all right.
There are at least, I believe, at least I saw two that were from the other side in there. I know they may not be labeled that way.
Yeah, I don't see opposition and
Mr.
for.
Lorick and Mr. Alps,
Who was that?
Albus, Mr. Lork or Mr. Albus might want to speak on the other side of the issue.
Okay. I'm sorry.
They did.
Oh, he's in opposition.
Let me see if I can identify.
Well, yeah, but
This
they
is
said they
the-
only have 15 minutes. That's what confused me.
Simply ask him. Anybody on the other side?
So we already have 70 minutes left. That's half the time. So the other side has to take the other 7 minutes.
These are the two that I'm aware of are on the other side. I don't know about all of these.
What is it?
I would just go ahead and call them and see how much, if they have time remaining, you can continue calling people.
Okay. But it's 15 total, period.
Mr. President?
Yes,
I might propose that you just go back and forth, you know, we had one side speak, then you can have another side speak, and then have the other side speak as long as the time will allow.
Okay.
And Mr. President, I would remind everybody that this is just to vote on whether we forward it to the regular agenda in July. And there'll be another public comment section and a more proper zoning discussion section in that agenda.
Okay. With that, we'll call up Mr. David Aris, who is on the opposing side. Mr. Aris, if you would come up. I'm sorry?
I'm gonna pass my time to one of these guys.
Okay, well, you need to fill out a sheet.
They're on, they've voted.
Mr. Lorick, I believe is who he's referring to.
No, is that Lorick or is, I see John out there. That gentleman that's coming up is not Lorick.
No, he may have submitted a card as well.
What's your name, sir? And I see if you got.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Michael Kelsch with Rayleigh and
Yeah,
Associates.
I think I saw yours, but I had you on the other side.
You should
Okay.
have a card. Okay,
Just state your name for the record.
Michael Kelsch, Rayleigh and Associates, 4913 Shed Road. I'm the engineer representing the developer, Mr. Sean, and with Caddo Electric. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. He's obviously dealing with the storms as well. He's an electrical contractor, and he's trying to get people's power back on. So, but anyway, so just real quick, I wanted to briefly mention the gentleman before me spoke about spot zoning and C1 and C4 and the MPC staff reports. I think he conveniently picked the C4 or the C1 staff report instead of picking the RA PUD staff report, which if you read, I don't know if this thing's on or not, but the RA staff report mentions that,
You can turn that on, can't you?
I'll just read it. The RA says that this site is warranted with the following additional amenities recommended by the staff. And so the MPC staff has recommended several things over the last 3 or 4 meetings. And to my knowledge, our developer has, and here's where it says that it is warranted with these recommendations. To my knowledge, our developer has done everything possible to meet everyone's recommendations. He's added landscaping. We've got an 8-foot fence. We've added a porch to the front. We've done the roof gable. We've added shutters to the windows. We've met the transparency recommended by the MPC. We've added landscaping in addition to the required ordinance. The building's pushed back 300 feet off the main road. And the biggest thing that came about, I think a week or two ago by the MPC, was recommending putting brick not only on the front, but all the way down the sides as well. And our developer is willing to do that as well. And just for y'all's knowledge, some of this, I don't have the exact number, but we're upwards of over $100,000 in things that the developer has been willing to do to try to make this thing work. So he's trying to do everything possible. Anything that has been asked of him, he's done. So I just wanted to kind of relay some of the amenities that he's done, and I'll let Mr. Lorick speak. And I think they had 7.5 minutes, so I would think we should get the other 4.5, so that's just my opinion.
Well, since I gauged that,
Thank y'all.
I think we're doing for and against, so we would bring the, someone against.
Point of order, Mr. President.
Okay.
Those cards are read in the order that they're received. So
Okay.
there's not a specific order of who speaks and how long. Just know that you have 15 minutes total to speak on the subject.
Okay, and if there's someone that you want to replace you, you can do that.
Right, and they've already yielded their time, so if they, and I think it was another gentleman that stood up that wanted to speak.
Okay, Steve, is that you?
Ready for me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm Steve Thornton. I live at 9846 Wallace Lake Road, 71106. I'm next door to the said property. And I've just, I've been against the commercial end of it the whole time because it is like 5 foot off of my property line as far as the property itself. Now, the building is further back, further over. But I just don't see where we need commercial property in this district. It's really growing, it's turning, we've got good subdivisions coming in, we got good people. Folks are buying 30 and 40 acre properties and building nice homes on them, building ponds and lakes. And I just don't think a commercial property will fit into the growth of the area that we're in. Now, you can go, north or south, either way you want to go, and Southern Loop, and I know it's high, it's expensive, but it's all commercial. You can go down around, Burt Coons, Wallace Lake Road, it's all commercial there. But I just want to state that I'm still against it. Not against the people, not against the person, not against, just commercial. We don't need to drag our part of town down with commercial properties, and that's about all I had, if you had any questions or anything.
Okay, no, this is public comment, so
Okay.
we don't normally give feedback.
Thank you.
Good seeing you, Steve. All right, that takes us to Mr. John Lord.
Thank you, Mr. President. I represent both the buyer and the seller. For over 50 years that I'm familiar with Wallace Lake Road, it's been a mixed-use road. The gentleman that spoke, I don't know his directionals or where he's getting his data. Whitaker Construction, which is one of the largest construction companies in Shreveport, is a quarter of a mile from this property, not 2 miles. Right in front of Mayo Road at the intersection is a trucking company. If you go up and down, and at Wallace Lake, at Overton Brooks, a guy has his construction equipment and employees living there. But to Wallace Lake Road actually needs property standards out there. I think a $1.2 million building and investment is a credit to the community. Now, there was no opposition when the oil companies were putting in a big pad right behind this property, and I think there's one also across the street. I think it's noteworthy that you understand that the two residents to the south, Mr. Thornton and his neighbor, operate their business from there. I think you have copies of the Secretary of State filings where they are domiciled there and have for decades operated their construction company out of there. It's kind of don't do as I do as I say do. We're talking about a $1.2 million building that would be a great asset. Mr. Pendleton has done every single thing down to the flower beds. Increased his cost to 6 figures. We're not talking about a little shammy. This will put some of the other properties to shame because it will be such an outstanding, beautiful piece of property. Caddo Parish needs a tax base. We need the employee base. And that area is very conducive to continuing to have construction or other buildings, rather commercial buildings in that area. I've lived out that way for quite a number of years myself, 30 or 40 years, out in the Elby Road area. And that area is a mixture. We've got Brooks's right across from a subdivision. We have Providence right across from businesses. What's the exception here? That someone should be so entitled to say free enterprise cannot move forward. We appreciate your consideration. Time's up. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think our time is up overall. So from there, Mr. Clerk.
All right, that brings us now to new business, where we have, first item up is the administrative report.
Okay. Madam Administrator.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
The administration is continuing to address the concerns of the citizens after the weather emergency. We're working with various agencies to address citizens' concerns. Would like to thank all parish employees who've come together to address the various issues that have come about as a result of this emergency. Wanted to also provide you the detention numbers. We have 22 in detention, 6 OJJ, 8 of those are 17-year-olds. We have 15 at CCC. We have also provided to you the monthly financial statements, the May financial statements. They should be at your station. If you have any issues or items of concern that we need to address as a result of the weather emergency, please contact us. We are working with Homeland Security to address any issues that may arise. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We don't have anyone to address the administration. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, I asked for an amendment earlier today, and I'm gonna press this issue now. I didn't get it. There's staff here. When I ask for something, y'all, I'd like to get a response. People email for information and stuff, and it's like we turn over tables to get them when they come with these records requests and stuff. When I ask for something to do our work, I gotta get here and wonder, where is it? That shouldn't happen. I'm just putting that on the record. I just find that troubling.
Madam Administrator, you want to address that?
Yes, sir. We've heard Commissioner Jackson. He did request something. It was not here on the agenda, and we will make sure in the future it doesn't happen.
Okay. All righty then. We good?
We'll see.
For right now. All right. Let's see. Anyone else to address the administration? Mr. Clerk?
Just for your reference, that you do have a copy of the monthly financials and hard copy in front of you. Okay, that brings us to the next item, which is advancing the introduction of Ordinance 6337 of 2023. That's related to Parish Zoning Commission Case 22-37-BAP. That is an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the west side of Wallace Lake Road, approximately 780 feet south of Overton Brooks Road, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District to RA PUD Rural Agricultural Planned Unit Development Zoning District, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. This is in District 9.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Jackson, a second by Commissioner Todd Hopkins. Commissioner Jackson. Okay, well, keep your hands off the keys. Commissioner Atkins?
Mr. President, if it's the President's pleasure, I will vote to forward this to the regular session on July 6th for a final vote. At that time, we'll have additional opportunity to discuss through a public hearing and an additional discussion from both sides on this matter.
Okay. Okay, this motion has been amended by Commissioner Atkins and seconded by Commissioner Stephon Jones. We can vote?
All right, and that passes with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent to be advanced to your regular session agenda.
Mr. President, may I speak to this?
Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, sir. I just want to let everybody know here that this is part of the regular process. This was a work session agenda. We voted to move it to the final agenda, which is on July 6th, at which time we'll have an additional public hearing where anybody can speak for or against, as well as a zoning discussion where there'll be other opportunities to speak. So just wanted to let you all know, I don't think we can take questions, but I just wanted to pass that information along.
Just wondering what the time limits will be on that.
Same.
15 per each side. Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Mr.
Okay,
Clerk?
back to the agenda. Thank you. That brings us to 6.3, advancing the introduction of ordinance number 6338 of 2023. That's in regards to PZC case 23-12-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code by amending the zoning of property located on the west side of Mooringsport Road, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District to C4 Heavy Commercial Zoning District and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
All right, a motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Johnson.
I do apologize. I think I may have left out that I think I skipped a couple of words in that that property is on Albany Road, west of Mooringsport Road. So I just wanted to make sure it's written correctly in front of you. I just think I may have misspoke when I said it.
Okay, if there's no further comments on this, we can vote. I'm sorry?
Did y'all have a request on this? Okay, so these people, I think, had a request on this zoning matter that they put in public comments for, and I think the presumption was that maybe theirs was the other zoning matter. I think they may have gotten confused with the other zoning matter.
Yes, you can.
To suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to suspend the rules. Do it by acclamation. Okay, fine. We apologize. All I can do is go by what I have here. Okay, now tell me who that is.
It looks like, I know this one.
What is this,
That's the first-
3668?
I know this is the first one, right here.
Okay, and who was the other?
Here, let's see. Is this one?
That's the only two.
All right, I can only address what I see. All right. That takes us then to Miss Beverly Zaya. State your name for the records, please.
Yes, my name is Beverly Zai. I live at 5265 Albany Road, directly across the street from this property's driveway. I have been speaking, and I'm speaking today, it's in Mr. Jackson's zone. I'm speaking in behalf of our whole residential neighborhood. We are all against changing any of our zoning to anything that is not residential agricultural. Why we are against it? It's going to destroy our neighborhood. The values of our homes are going to be affected. It's going to create danger on our very, very narrow, curvy, dead-end road. And it has no place on the whole road for a big RV or anything else to turn around. It is a very, very small parish road. Our children and grandchildren are going to be put in danger. And they're not going to feel safe anymore, especially with strangers coming and going all the time. Right now, they are able to ride their bikes on the road, take walks on the road, even adults. And it's going to be diminished when you have people that have no idea what the road's like driving down the road. It's going to create a higher danger of thefts and crimes. The residents like to take the walks and even ride their horses on the road. and they're going to have to worry about their safety. The homeowners along the parcel, especially the homeowners that are right along this small 25-foot wide driveway area, and it's long, it's over 600 feet long, they are going to lose all of their privacy because it surrounds their properties. And they're going to have people roaming around their property all the time and camping behind their homes. Now, the property and the owner's use, that they don't even meet the requirements for the open spaces zoning. Open spaces are to be used for the use and benefit of people in the neighborhood. This would be a gated place that is not, no one's allowed in there except the people that are paying to rent a space for their campers. Now, transient means short-term. And in your Unified Development Code, Section 6, the description of a campground is an area to be used for transient occupancy with travel trailers, camping, and similar movable or temporary sleeping quarters. An RV park is land used for an accommodation of 2 or more recreational vehicles for transient, short-term dwelling purposes. Well, Louisiana State Parks only allows 15 days to stay at a park before you have to leave, and then wait 7 days or longer before you can come back. At the PCC meeting, the owner of this property said he wants to have the campground RV park for long-term stays for a month or more. And he said at the televised or the video meeting that he wants it as principal residences for the renters. He feels it's the same as a home, a trailer, or whatever you live in. That's not right. The Unified Code specifically states in Article 6 Standards, Section 5, or F, number 5, campground and recreational vehicle RV parks year-round residency is prohibited from any campground or RV park. Camping units or recreational vehicles are prohibited from use as a principal residence. And that's what he wants it for. Another standard in Article 6, Section F, number 6, a 25-foot setback from the perimeter property line of the campground or RV park is required. This driveway is narrow, this area. It was meant for that property being bought and sold as a residential parcel of land only. They allowed this driveway, right-of-way, and it was, we were told 20 feet, but he says it's about 27 feet wide. Now, is that enough room for 2 RVs to pass each other? Is it enough room to have 25 feet on each side from property that's owned by other families? No. He doesn't have enough room. He doesn't have the road frontage. It was created, as I said, for residential use. And we thank the PCC because they denied his request. And we ask that you uphold their decision and don't let any changes be made to our residential agricultural area. We want to keep it as our agricultural residential, and we don't want it destroyed. Thank you.
Point of order.
Yes.
Is this an appeal or what? Because I'm reading the minutes from the planning commission. And it says, the Parish Planning Commission, it says it was denied.
It was denied.
Okay, then why are we handling it? Did the other people? Okay, so it wasn't an appeal or anything? Okay, all right, that's what I want to be sure of. It had me confused, that's why I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Sarah Harville? You can have the remaining 937s.
I just wanted to show y'all a map. I don't know how to turn this thing on.
It's on. It's on.
Oh, is it on? Okay. I live at 53, Sarah Harville, 5340 Albany Road, Shreveport. I live at the very end of where his property is. He said he's not going to utilize that little strip or whatever, but he can. He can do whatever he wants to. And I'm just concerned, I have kids, and I'm just concerned about people milling around back behind my property at any time, night or day. They have nobody on site that's gonna stay there. And you know, if anything happens, you know, we're gonna be on ourselves to call the police or the sheriff's department. And I'm also worried about my property value. I've lived out there 15 years. We built our house. We know our neighbors. You know, we're a very tight-knit community out there. We're zoned RA for a reason, because we do not want to be in the city. We don't want it to, we have chickens, we have horses, cows, not me personally, but my neighbors do, and we don't want it to change. And I'm just concerned about, I know it's growing out there, I know it's North Shreveport, but we do not want our zoning changed at all. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Horrible. All right, do we need another motion to,
Move back into.
okay, motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Stephon Jones to move back into regular session. Mr. Hoppman, I see your name on here.
No, that was earlier.
Okay.
That was the question I asked.
All right, by acclamation, get back in regular session. Okay, Mr. Clerk?
Okay, so that does take us to 6.3, which is advancing the introduction of Ordinance 6338 of 2023 in regards to PCC Case 23-12-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the west side of Albany Road, approximately 3,000 feet north of Old Mooringsport Road, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District to C4 Heavy Commercial Zoning District, and otherwise providing with respect to.
3, this one? Okay.
Mr. President, could I ask you a question?
Yes, well,
Or do we need to vote at this point?
well, I tell you, we go into that. I have a motion by Commissioner Johnson and second by Commissioner Stephon Jones. Commissioner Johnson, then I'll go to Commissioner Atkins.
Yeah, just like the last one, just moving it to regular session so that we can either vote it up or down. That's all.
Okay.
Commissioner
Okay.
Atkins?
That's fine. That's all. I was trying to get clarity on that. Thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, that's all. Just wanted you all to know, the citizens to know that this is to advance it to another agenda. Does not make a final decision today. There will be another opportunity for you to speak more on the subject or for or against once we advance this.
Okay.
Or don't advance, whatever should happen. That's what this process is right now.
Okay, if there's no other comments, then we can vote.
All right, and that motion advances with 10 in support, 1 in opposition, and 1 absent. So that will be on your Thursday agenda for introduction with, of course, the public hearing in July. The next item you have is advancing the introduction of Ordinance 6336 of 2023. That is an ordinance amending the 2023 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Parks and Recreation and Oil and Gas funds to appropriate funds for Shreveport Green.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Stephon Jones. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I think we had a significant amount of conversation on this at the last meeting, and for whatever reason, it wasn't written up right, and we had to redo it again. You know, I used to write my own ordinances when I first got down here. Remember that?
I remember that.
He said, don't do that. Trying to.
Did any of them get passed?
Yeah, they did.
Good.
But, you know, starting to wonder as the clock winds down, do I need to do that in the last couple of months here? So.
Oh, we good.
I hope not.
And we've had a lot going on here recently.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved and second. We can vote.
All right, and that motion carries with 11 in support, 9 in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us to the next item, which is advancing the introduction of ordinance number 6339 of 2023. That's an ordinance amending the 2023 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Reserve Trust Fund And I believe this is the item that that Commissioner Jackson had contemplated an amendment to.
Yeah, and I still don't have the amendment, so I just asked us to move this forward. This is a item narrowly focused on folks who have lost their food. And so the calls that I've received have been centered around food costs and folks losing their food. So that's what this is about. I talked with Martha Merrick this morning. She sent a cost over, and so just asking for us to move this to whatever agenda we need to move it to. Thanks.
Okay, Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a very important initiative for our citizens at this time. A lot of our citizens have lost their food during this storm and still are. There are still many who are without power. I would definitely like to be a co-sponsor on this initiative, if that would be okay with Commissioner Jackson.
Anybody who wants to co-sponsor?
Thank you.
Same here, Mr. Chair. Also, John Paul Young. Put everybody on it. Okay, Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, I'm one of those that doesn't like to get in our trust fund, but this is something a little different. I just want to make sure that we've got a couple food pantries up north, that we get something
parish-wide.
Parish-wide, okay, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I support the cause. I'm just trying to figure out how we implement it. I guess all that'll be worked out later.
Is that a question for me?
Sure, to the author.
May I? Yes, it'll be worked through the food bank. They'll identify the sites, and they'll work with the parish staff on the distribution points, similar to how we've executed the ICE distribution points. And I think we did something similar to this for COVID-19, so they'll work with the commissioners to also identify distribution points in their district, but it'll be parish-wide.
Okay.
And staff will kind of execute.
Will the funds be accessed as they're required? Yeah.
I imagine that I don't know how the food bank draws down or how they drew it down. I'll defer to Ms. Bryant.
Yes, this wouldn't be one where we advance them the funds. We would.
Say it would not be?
This would not be one where we advance them the funds like their traditional NGO. We would work with them to sign the CEO, identify locations for distribution and what that will cost and how often. I think the number is because it'll be widespread.
And they'd be drawing against that money?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, if there's no other questions on this issue, we can vote.
All right, that passes with 11 in support and none in opposition, 1 absent. So that will advance to your Thursday agenda.
Mr. President, for clarification, I'm sorry. I meant to ask, I think I did talk with Administrator Bryant. Administrator yet or interim? Or what should I be saying? Help me out. I'm sorry.
Sign this interim, almost there.
I'm sure Woody watching somewhere. I don't want to get nobody crossed up. But I did talk with Administrator Bryant. I think we do have funds already allocated that we can get started or something like that. And we would, so I think the need is urgent. I think Martha was trying to look at July 8th as a tentative date. So it'll all work out. I just wanted everybody to know that the fund, we do have emergency funds available, and that's where this kind of would come out of that pot of money. So it's almost, I think it's almost kind of like budget neutral. I don't know what's still left over from the Keyfield tornadoes or whatnot. Or it's not enough.
We'll need more funds, but we can get started with getting agreements so we're ready to go on July 8th. I think you all probably will vote on this July 6th.
Okay.
But we'll work with her. If it doesn't pass, we'd go with what we have. We wouldn't go forward, but.
Okay.
All right, no other comments. Let me see, did we pass it?
Yes.
Yeah, we're on the next one.
Okay.
Mr. Clerk. Okay. Advancing, the next item is 6.6. That's advancing Resolution 28 of 2023. That's a resolution to authorize the Caddo Parish Administrator to approve the assignment, bill of sale, and conveyance of state agency leases 2775, 15035, and 18798 to Arapahoe SPV LLC and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Motion by Commissioner Jones and seconded by Commissioner Young. Commissioner Johnson. I'm sorry, Commissioner Jones.
Are you? I want
Commissioner
to,
Johnson.
in Globo and advance, Resolution 29, Resolution 30, Resolution 31, Resolution 32, Resolution 33, Resolution, well, y'all might want to talk about it, so 33.
Second.
Commissioner Johnson, did you also want to include 28 on that? I didn't hear you say 28.
28, 29,
Okay.
30, 31, 32, 33. I stopped at 33.
33.
So that was in Globo and advance.
And 35.
And in Globo in advance of resolutions 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 35?
Yes.
So we left 34 out.
Yeah, I figured it might be a little.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
an
you for that
amendment to
courtesy.
that one, so.
Okay. All right, it's been amended by Commissioner Johnson and seconded by Commissioner Jones to englobo resolutions 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 35. All right, Commissioner Jackson.
What about the ordinances that was added? We not adding them?
Well, there's
They further down.
There's stuff further down.
Okay, I'm sorry.
They're 24 and 25.
Okay.
I was outside when y'all did.
Okay, we can vote.
I'm on the board, Mr. President.
You are?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, y'all put Commissioner Gage Watts on the board. Go ahead on.
Thank you. I am. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor to Resolution 32 and 35.
Okay, 32 and 35 for Commissioner Gage Watts.
That's it, Mr. President.
You can stick me on one of them too. Since I am a graduate of Fairport.
Medical careers, magnet high school.
35. Okay. All right, Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, I don't, the resolution is not attached for 35. Am I, my agenda not? We did discuss at our EOC meeting today that, and there was actually an appeal from Director Jump to ask us to petition our congressional delegation for resources. Vice President Young and President Burrell were there along with Administrator Bryant to petition our delegation because we have not, we don't know if we're going to hit that threshold to unlock the federal resources right now. That's a concern, and it should be a concern for everybody. What we do need is we need for citizens to report their damage before they go out and fix it, and we get it. There are some folks like John Atkins who can just, call up the team tomorrow and it's done. But John, we need you to take a picture and report it first. We need to calculate it and count it first. Because what a lot of folks and what we discussed is we also have businesses that they didn't have physical damage and physical loss, but they had financial loss. And until we hit that threshold, a lot of those resources just won't become unlocked until we hit that threshold. So we really need to emphasize doing that. But we also, I don't want to see Caddo Parish be like Lake Charles, where they went 2.5 years after a storm took place before they even start talking about doing a supplemental appropriation for it. The sky hadn't fallen yet, but a lot of, I don't think we've seen anything like this. And we seems like we're saying that every disaster, and it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. And I just know that there's a need out there that we can only do so much here locally, but we also need to be looking to get reimbursed for the cost that we have incurred with this deal as well. So that's why this is on the agenda. That's why it's necessary. And that's why those of you, Todd, if you got that congressman's phone number, call him tonight and ask him to go talk to the president or have steak dinner with the president or something, so that we can get some resources here in Caddo Parish. Thank you, Mr. President. And hopefully everybody will join on just like we did for the fruit deal as well.
Okay.
This was an actual ask of our Director of Homeland Security to do this, so.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Jones.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to be added to 32 and 35.
Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just following up on what Commissioner Jackson said, I also spoke with the Homeland Defense team earlier this week, and they, just as they did with Commissioner Jackson, they encouraged us to have our constituents go to the website that we've all received and the telephone number that we've all received and post those damages. So I was just encouraging all of us to get that out on our social media. Some of you have a much larger social media audience than I do. So I'd encourage us all to share that information with everybody.
So how many you up to now, 10?
I think I made a dozen. Thank you, Mr. President.
Damage.la.gov.
What's it again?
Damage.la.gov.
Damage.la.gov, and the number is 3. Thank you. Damage.la.gov is the website, and the telephone number is 318-675-2255. 318-675-2255 to report damage.
And we want them to use both.
And they ask us to ask for our citizens to report your damage to both the website and that telephone number. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
We do
Okay.
have that information posted on our website.
Okay, and that information.
Yeah, we have it on our website, but it's good to just give it out to the public since we are televised. Okay, with that in mind, we can vote. Wait a minute. Oh, by the way, I want it to be, Ms. Clerk, I want it to be added to resolutions, let's see here. 30, 32, 34, and 35. Now we
Okay.
can vote. Now we can vote.
With that,
I said now we can vote.
okay. And it looks like we're just waiting for yours and Commissioner Hopkins. It didn't log yours.
No, sorry.
Okay, that motion passes with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us now to 6.12, which is advancing Resolution 34 of 2023. That is a resolution to authorize the parish administrator to seek proposals for a 6-month pilot project test run of an automated traffic enforcement system to be operated on roads in the unincorporated areas of the parish and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I want to advance this to not this regular session, but the regular session after that, which will be in
July 6th, I think.
July 6th or 8th or whatever that date is.
Oh, regular session, yeah.
Yeah, regular session date.
Okay, so we'll be advancing it to July when?
July 6th.
July
Yeah, the
6th.
first week in July, that
Okay.
Thursday.
All right. Okay, the motion is second. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes, I'd like to make a substitute motion to remove District 1 from the 6-month pilot project test run.
Just vote against it.
I'm sorry.
Died for a second.
I'll second it.
He died. We already seen him die.
Jackson already seconded.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson, there's been a motion to amend it by Commissioner Todd Hopkins and seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Okay, as I guess a substitute motion, so we vote on the substitute motion. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes, you know, District 1 probably has the most roads in all the districts, and the people are really concerned with this project, so I would like to be taken out of that pilot project for this at this time and run it on the rest of the parish and see what happens. So thank you.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, that's very unfortunate if we're going to start dissecting the program before we even give it an opportunity to see if it will work for our parish or not. When this was presented to us, and I said this the very first time that I heard the presentation for us to be #1 with fatalities in Caddo Parish. That alone says that this is a program that we need to at least try to see if we could at least do something to eradicate that. Secondly, we either want the perception of safety or we want crime. At what point are we going to make a choice? When we cross the state lines, when we go to Texas, there are toll tags. If you don't have a tag in your car, you're going to receive a ticket in the mail and you're going to pay for it. We talk about our streets. I hear all the time about the potholes and everything that needs to be fixed in our communities, the blight. Well, this is an opportunity for us not to make any upfront investments, but for us to receive revenue to put back into our communities. It's a win-win situation, and we haven't even tried it, and we're willing to dissect it already. And again, it's very unfortunate. I am in support of this initiative, and I think it's advantageous if we come together and say, let's give this an opportunity. We want to do everything we can to support law enforcement, to give them another tool to help them. We know that there are shortages. De-escalation between the community and law enforcement. This provides another opportunity for that. I don't think we're thinking this through. And to see this come up again, and now we're going back to the table and we're taking additional steps to dissect it. Again, I am in support of it and will be voting for it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, I was gonna ask if we knew what the impact of taking District 1 out, if we knew what the impact of this was, and if anybody can speak to that, or, because I try to give deference to a commissioner's area. As y'all know, the adjudicated property, I pulled out, got an adjudicated property thing on there, so I get that. Will it work? Won't it work? What's the issues? And I know the guy was normally here. I was looking out there for him. But if it basically renders it moot, if it basically hamstrings it, because I don't go to the rural areas, and I tell y'all all the time, I kind of stay out of the non-city parts of the parish. I try to stay out of y'all's business, and so I'll kind of lean to where y'all, it doesn't matter to me. If it doesn't work, I don't want to hamstring it either.
Well, it's kind of hard to stay out of each other's district because, whether you're in the urban or the rural, we are the parish commission. Commissioner Carlton.
Yes, at this particular time, I can honestly say I'm not pro or con on this particular issue, but to take a particular district out is, I don't think, fair to anyone seated around this horseshoe. The thing is, again, as I understand this entire process, it's about speeding and saving lives. I've received a call already concerning someone who lost their child because of speeding in the rural area. And the thing is, again, with 2 additional weeks, I think it gives each and every one of us an opportunity to get additional information. As you just stated, Commissioner Jackson, we could find out what the impact would be on District 1 at that particular time. In addition to that, I also intend to contact some additional people, because it's my understanding there have been numerous deaths in the rural area. And once again, my philosophy is, if we could save one life, it's worth it.
Commissioner Johnson?
I was gonna say, we got 12 districts, and they're supposed to be all united. It's not supposed to be one separated from the other. District 1 does have way more parish roads than a lot of the other ones do, but at the same time, this is about making sure that people are safe as they go through Caddo Parish. As you know, if you notice that, if you go back to some of the sheriff's reports about wrecks, people going off the road, hitting trees, that's gonna be a lot in District 1, because it's windy roads and people take the roads a little bit faster. They lose control. no one district is gonna be, pointed out. These are parish roads. These roads other people pay taxes on. Not only people in District 1 pay taxes in District 1, but people in District 2 pay taxes over in District 1. People in 5, 7, 8, they also pay taxes. So the same roads that are overlaid in one district, people pay taxes all the way across the board. So I don't want us to start saying, well, I don't want it in this district, then we come in 2 weeks, 2 other commissioners say, well, I don't want it in my district either. And now here we go, you know, I already tore it apart before it even started. This is twofold. I mean, because if a person doesn't speed, they never know what's going on. It's when you speed and you get caught, it's when you're gonna have the problem. If the city of Shreveport didn't have the problem with the camera system, this wouldn't even be an issue. But people come down here complaining about what the city did in the school districts, and then some of our commissioners say, hold on, we don't want that either. But it's a totally different process. And now the city is looking at this process to replace what they have as an option. So, I mean, sometimes we gotta lead and not follow. And this is an opportunity to lead. That's all I have.
All right, Commissioner Epperson.
Call for the question.
Second.
Motion.
Okay, the question has been called by Commissioner Epperson, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. All right. We can vote. We'll call for the question.
That motion carries by 11 in support, none in opposition. So that brings us to the amendment, which was, I believe, made by Commissioner Hopkins, seconded by Commissioner Lazarus.
To remove District 1.
To remove District 1.
Okay, let's vote. Oh, sorry.
Okay, and that motion does not pass. It was 4 in support.
No, I think I voted wrong.
Okay, so you on the board, I'm showing you as a yes or a yay.
What I'm voting, my vote was to leave it in because I don't believe in breaking up the district. So would that be on the nay?
That would be on the nay. So
on the
let
nay
the
side.
record reflect that Commissioner Burrell is a nay, and the record now reflects that. So that does not change the outcome. The outcome is still that that item fails with 3 in support, 8 in opposition, and 1 absent. And that now brings us to the initial motion, which was from Commissioner Johnson, seconded by, I believe, Commissioner Jones? Epperson, I'm sorry. And that is to advance this to Thursday's meeting.
In July.
Oh, I'm sorry, advance this to the July 6th meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, that is what the minute says.
All right, we can vote.
Would you put me down as a sponsor also on that?
I will. And that motion carries with 7 in support, 4 in opposition, and so that will be on your July 6th regular session. And that brings us to 6.14, advancing a special resolution celebrating the 50th anniversary of Ernest and Shirley Baylor.
Okay, motion by the chair. Did I get a second?
Second.
All right, second by Commissioner Gage Watts. Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, I want to in Globo in advance and also be a sponsor on 14 since that's my line, brother. 6.14, 6.15, 6.16, 6.17, 6.18, 6.19, 6.20, 6.21, 6.22, 6.23, and the 2 ordinances we had, mercy ordinances.
And just for clarification, so that's to advance all of those items, and then on the emergency ordinances, is that to adopt them or to advance them?
To adopt those.
Okay.
Okay, it's been motioned by Commissioner Johnson and second by Commissioner Stephen Jackson to advance
And adopted two emergency ordinances.
and to
Adopt the
two
two emergency
ordinances. Commissioner Johnson, you just finished speaking. Commissioner Jones?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Clerk, I'd like to be added to, see,
If you'd like, you
Baylor.
can just text me what all you want
Okay,
to add it to.
I can do that.
Or you can, I mean, you can tell me now too if you like. I just, in case you wanted to take a look over it, you're welcome to.
You want me to start it? 17, 18,
Yeah,
20,
17,
18,
18,
20, 4, and 5.
yes. Does that include the emergency, ordinance? Okay.
You started at 17, Commissioner Jones?
I actually need to go, start at 14.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to be on that one as well.
Why don't we just say all of them?
14, 16, 17, 18, and 4 and 5. The emergency ordinances. That's it.
Okay, I lost you after 18.
After 18, I mentioned.
Yeah, just text it to the clerk.
Can we just text it?
Well, that's what I said I was doing at first, and then I
Yeah.
said,
No, just text
say it
it.
out loud.
And I believe I have been able to get down all of your requests for additions, but it, just to be safe, if anybody wants to text me, you're welcome to.
Just put me on all.
I'll do that from
And then
now
I
on.
want to deal with that. Okay. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you. I guess I have a question about, did y'all talk about I see this here with the ARPA security trailers to apply to the Crime Stoppers and to Rock Solid?
Which one is
Did I
that?
miss that or something?
Which one is
That's
that on the
21.
agenda? I'm sorry?
21.
21?
21?
Right.
That's an action item.
That's just to advance.
Right. I'm just trying to make sure that we always talk about consistency here. I didn't know that was well.
And just to be clear, my understanding, that's an action item because we've done it in the past with American Rescue
Right.
Plan.
But we usually have a committee meeting and discuss it and sent one of them back and brought it back up and sent it back again. And so I'm just trying to figure out, was there a conversation? I mean, it could be fine. I could be totally fine with it. I don't have a problem. I'm just trying to figure out what is it for.
The security trailers were already approved.
Right, the trailers were approved, but it looked like we're removing from the trailers to
Right.
do, that's all I'm trying to get clarity
Chair.
on is what are we doing?
Okay, let me address.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's fine.
Madam Administrator, would you want to get involved so we can get a clarification? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Attorney Frazier, I'm sorry, either one.
I'll defer to her right now, and we'll get to my issue.
Okay.
I'm still on the board too.
Okay.
Commissioners, I think Commissioner Chavez was one of the ones that supported security trailers. We have found that we have not been able to figure out how we can do the security trailers. So that money is there. We think there's a mechanism to be able to do Crime Stoppers based on the crime statistics. And Rock Solid, we'll have to get more information on, but we have discussed these with Commissioner Chavez, and since the security trailers, this was brought up at a ARPA meeting.
Okay.
We didn't get an advancement from that meeting, but it was discussed at a previous ARPA meeting.
Okay. Just wanted some clarity. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to get a little clarity on it. And then I'd like to be added to the one for Baylor, as well as the 2 emergency ordinances.
Sheet of paper. Just write it down.
And that's it for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, you have that, Mr. Clerk?
I believe so.
From Commissioner Jackson.
I believe so. Thank you.
Okay, Attorney Frazier?
2 things about the emergency ordinances. The first one is that they need to be read today so that they can be introduced before they're adopted. Additionally, they're also going to need to be passed as regular ordinances. You do not have but one meeting in July. I would suggest maybe putting them on your work session, which I believe you've moved to next Friday. And then you will probably have to have a special meeting to have a final passage as a regular ordinance, because emergency ordinances lapse after 30 days. You don't want the appropriation to lapse, which you adopted today, then your 30 days would be on or about July 22nd.
Absolutely. If I could add to the parish attorney's suggestion, there is the timing of that will be important, and because you have an unusual date for your next work session, we will provide a explanation that I'll run by Donna or Attorney Fraser first, just to make sure that we have all those dates correct so that everybody's clear on it. But she's absolutely right. These only last 30 days, and you are going to need a permanent one. We by the way will. I want to make sure, Attorney Fraser, when I read it earlier for the public hearing, do you think that suffices? Now I know that I need to advertise it again after if it's adopted. I need to advertise it as well.
No, because that was the different function. If you could just read the titles really quickly,
okay,
we can get on.
Thank you. That does clarify it. So as part of this substitute motion to a Globo in advance, it is necessary to reread these items. And if it's okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Okay. One moment. Okay. The first item today is a potential agenda addition to adopt the agenda addition is adopting emergency ordinance 6340 of 2023. That is an emergency ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Reserve Trust Fund to provide a public assistance to Caddo citizens as a result of the June 16th storm and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The other item that's contemplated to be ungloboed and adopted today is adopting emergency ordinance 6341 of 2023, which is an emergency ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for Public Works Fund to provide debris removal after the June 16th storm and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay. That's it? All right. Commissioner Atkins.
I'm concerned about item 6340, 6341, and what is this? Item number 23. I mean, I'm not concerned about the goals here. I'm just concerned about what we're doing. And I mean, everything's kind of really up in the air, and we're talking about $2+ million. So I guess we're talking about advancing it now because we need to get the process rolling. And while we wait to get to the true vote on these issues, staff will be working to work out the details on what we're doing here. Madam Administrator?
Yes, sir, that's my understanding. We know that we will have a big issue with debris removal when we get to that point. Right now, we're concentrating on cleanup and getting the current garbage, but we will have debris removal, and we will need an amendment at some point. And so we wanted to go ahead and have that in place so that when Public Works works out the details of how we're going to get this debris off the streets, it's going to be a long process, and we didn't want to delay it. So we're good with that one. In relation to the citizens, there is an immediate need. SWEPCO is telling us that.
So when you say the citizens, you're talking about now item 23?
Yes.
Okay.
So SWEPCO has communicated that if there are trees on private property that on the homeowner's property that is impeding them from getting their service restored, that homeowner has to get that removed before they can restore the service. And so that is why we have, and that is also in relation to meters and some other things that are impeding restoring the service. So that is why we need this immediately so that a citizen would not be without power, because right now you you do have, say, a entire neighborhood has power restored, but two homes do not because of these types of issues. And so there is an immediate need and it would be based on income, to help those citizens who may not be able to hire an electrician, who may not be able to hire someone to come and remove a tree in order to get their power restored. We are in triple degree heat, and so we do need to help citizens in order to get their power restored.
So item 23 is more about individuals and reimbursing individuals to ensure that they can get their power restored and
Yes.
and re-inject a safe environment in their home.
Yes.
And item 6341 is more about the bigger public works debris
Yes.
removal.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we all have been humbled by a couple of days without without air conditioning and power, and we all realize the need to get these issues solved. Thank you. Thank
Especially
you,
people in your district, 'cause I've got a few calls from there.
Well, they must not have come to me, because I assure you I would have been returning.
Well, they knew I was easy, you know you hard. Commissioner Carlton.
Disregard.
Sorry? Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, so are you asking us to keep it as an emergency ordinance or take it to a regular ordinance?
What's the difference in those two for our
So
knowledge?
emergency ordinance lasts 30 days, but there's a workaround around the 30 days because we could actually do it today and then come back in July and change it from an emergency ordinance to a regular ordinance and then vote on it in a special meeting before we go to Austin.
That's what I said.
Let's vote.
You want to rewind?
Let's vote.
There is definitely time.
Yeah, I need to go get to the ice trailer on the Cooper Road. So
I got the gas up.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson, you finished?
I'm finished. I need to go to Southern. So
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, I got to make a run too. I just wanted to know that what we're trying to do here is more targeted and focused. John, I think what we've done in the past is work with the Community Action Agency to be our agent here, since they are agent of the parish. I don't know if they want to take this on at this time. I know they were at capacity at a certain point.
If not, we'll find an agency
Right,
to
but
get this
that's what-
done quickly.
That's what this is. This is going to probably be focused on a more narrowly tailored group of individuals that fall within that gap.
Like our tornado.
Correct. Similar fashion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are we having a meeting Thursday?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Jackson. We can vote.
And that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent.
Well, let me say, we just passed a resolution, I believe, on the sickle cell, the annual sickle cell softball tournament. I wanted to make a comment on. The director should have been down here, should have been down here to accept the resolution, but I guess due to power outages and stuff, she's not here. But at the same, I'm sorry?
She's gonna come Thursday, right?
Well, yeah, she can come Thursday. Okay. But I wanted to say too that at the end of the meeting, I have a person coming down for video for any of the commissioners that want to stand with us promoting our sickle cell tournament on July 7th through the 9th. So if you'd like to be a part of that, that's going to be at the end of the meeting. Okay, Mr. Clerk. Oh, Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to let the citizens know that there will be food meals distributed today at 6 p.m. at Morning Star Baptist Church parking lot, 5340 Jewella Avenue. About 200 meals will be distributed. All you have to do is just drive up. No prerequisites, just free meals. Just want to feed the public for anyone who needs to eat. Thank you.
That is a blessing. Commissioner Epperson.
Just got an alert for West Shreveport area from AT&T. They're out now, working on getting AT&T internet services back up. That's all I have, sir.
Commissioner Carl?
Very briefly, just want to thank everyone, all the workers throughout this city, throughout this parish, for everything they're doing, have done, and going to do. The thing is, again, is I think each and every citizen that did without electricity for one day, for a few hours even, appreciate everything that they're doing, to include Captain Jump and the Emergency Operations Center as well. So again, my hat is off to the entire city, entire parish as well for everything that's been done. Thank you very much.
Okay, I myself, nope, not quite. Your president hadn't spoken. Again, I want to thank the parish for all the work that they've done. They've been out there every day, slaving away at getting us back, into some sort of service. We were able to call a collective meeting with all the emergency personnel that's there, the governments. They were all there. They showed up as a recommendation, and I'll give him his prompts. Commissioner Johnson called me and said that he thought that we need to have a collective meeting, and Robert Jump, he really appreciated that because the different entities were doing their own things in different directions, and we were able to come together and put together an implementation plan that worked out real well. That's the reason many of the people are back in service today rather than 2 weeks. We've lessened it to probably 4 days to possibly a week, especially under the circumstances that we experienced with some people say straight line winds, but some are saying that it was an F2 tornado, which I feel that was the case. Again, it was trying times at a tough time with all the heat and everything that's out there. We still not through. We may not have any more public press conferences, but we're recommending that we do a Zoom to kind of close this thing out because you still have a lot of people hurting. Matter of fact, there's 36,400 and some people who are still out of service as of this morning in Caddo Parish.
Is that customers or people? Probably customers, probably like homes.
Well, he just say citizens, and that's a lot of people. So we still have work to do. So again, we appreciate everything in SWEPCO. We kind of gave them a hard time because anytime we have a storm like that, they're at the end, they're at the end of the spear on that. But they've done a wonderful job. They brought in over 1,100 workers.
It was actually over 2,000 workers that they've had.
Over 2,000 workers. I know they mentioned the number 3,000 total.
Right.
So that's a lot of folks coming in to try to take care of us. And then they had their own problems because in Oklahoma they had terrible weather. And some of the workers had to leave to go back to Oklahoma to take care of their own folks. So it's been traumatic.
Yes, and Commissioner, I would like to also, Crystal has done a great job. She's had to coordinate the communications process for all the agencies, not just Caddo Parish, during this time. And so that was a big undertaking. So would like to thank her for getting that information out to the citizens, and a lot of it on short notice, a lot of it into the wee hours. We've been communicating, trying to get those notices out.
Yeah, Crystal was thrown in the mix, thrown right into the pot, and she stepped up to the plate and has been able to get this information out to the public. So again, anything else from the commission? I see our radio person is here, so hopefully you won't run off.
I'm gonna hold it to Thursday.
What's that? Oh, yours to Thursday? Okay. All right.